Well, I'm out for a hike today in the Blue Mountain Birch Cove Lakes wilderness area, along the trail that I've been on many times. But today I'm looking for something different. In a few minutes time, I'm going to go off trail and deep into the woods in search of a spot that has water nearby, because that's one of the criteria, where I can set up possibly a semi-permanent day camp, some bit of a shelter where I can go to for some privacy, film some videos, possibly do some overnights. Today it'll just be a lunch. But it is an icy, cold day here in Halifax, and on top of the ice, and the trails are just treacherously icy, we had a light snow overnight. And what happens is that just creates a powder on top of the ice. So I'm wearing my Catula microspikes, and I do have a video on those. It's an older one, but I'll link it right up here where you can see my testing of the Catula microspikes. I anticipate now, I didn't when I first came out, but I anticipate I'm going to do some walking over the frozen lake just to save me a little bit of the trail work, so I can kind of shortcut around some of the trails that I know are especially bad for going up and down. I should have brought my ice picks. Those are the picks that you wear around your neck so that if you go through the ice, then you have a couple of spikes that you can pull yourself up out of the water. And truth, I don't think I'd need them anyway, as long as I'm careful, especially around any streams that enter so that where the water might get thin, or the ice might get thin. As long as I'm careful, the ice here looks to be 4 to 6 inches thick. I can follow down some of the seam cracks, and it's at least that deep. In addition, I have my hiking pole. Always a good idea if you're crossing frozen water to have a pole so that if you do go through, you have a brace to stop yourself from submerging altogether and to use yourself to pull yourself back up on the ice. So that's what I have today. But I'm also going to do a bit of a channel update. I have a few new products that I'm going to be testing. I'll just give you an introduction on. And yeah, just tell you where the channel's going for 2019. You know, I've shown this view almost every time I come through this part of the park, because it's just so beautiful. But that is one cold north wind coming down the lake right now. So wintertime can really change how you hike through an area. So we've had some rather cold temperatures for this time of year. We usually don't get down this far below freezing this early in the winter, but it's great because it allows me to get out on the lake. Up there, that's where I was standing a few minutes ago. That's that bluff that was overlooking the north, towards the north of the lake. Now I'm looking south, but it gives you a whole new perspective. The only time you can see this is either in the summer from a canoe or kayak, or in the winter when you can get out on the frozen ice. What's really cool is the ice is expanding and contracting underneath, and the sound is great. Big booming noises as it follows along the ice. So I've been hiking, or I wouldn't call it hiking, pushing through the barbed wire brush for about 15-20 minutes, following a stream, or what was a stream at the lake where it entered the lake, following it backwards to see if there was a body of water or a bigger stream I could use as a source of water. And what I found was a frozen bog. And I'm pretty much in the center of the bog, and right here I think if it wasn't frozen is where the majority of the water would have been running through. But interesting nonetheless. I didn't know this bog was here, so it was kind of fun coming into it. And it's around bogs that you see interesting plants you don't see in other places. Like right here, pitcher plants, what they look like in the winter time. And I see a lot of leather leaf, a lot of rhodora, a lot of sheep laurel, a lot of swamp grass. There's a few dead pines. I can look around and see if there's any fat wood to harvest. I'm also looking to see if I can find any other edibles or any other medicinal plants. So far not. I'm not even seeing any signs of life, like there's no tracks in the snows, rabbits or anything else through here, so it's not a great area that way, but interesting nonetheless. I don't think this is the place I would set up a day camp, only because outside of it being a frozen season, there wouldn't be much I could do here. Alright, I'm going to keep looking along, see what else I can find. One thing I'm looking for, I haven't seen yet, I'm hoping to, is Labrador tea. one of my favorite finds when you come to a bog. None here yet though. Okay, I'll keep moving along, see if I can't find a spot. Getting hungry, almost lunchtime. Okay, so it's probably been an hour since I last had the camera turned on, and I searched and pushed and bushwhacked through a lot of area to see if I could find that ideal spot that would have both a nice flat place I could set up a campsite as well as access to water nearby. No luck today, but that's okay. I didn't, that wasn't the total goal of coming out. The goal actually was to come out and enjoy myself, and I have been doing that. I have a few products that I'm also testing, and I'm going to give you some hints and some teasers in a few minutes' time, but I just started a little fire in a stove that you'll see me cook my lunch on, and lunch actually is going to be one of the other teasers in another future video. So I'm just going to sit down for a few minutes, get my lunch prepared, and I'll show you what I've got. I have a new stove that I tried out for the first time today. I'm also going to be recording a separate video on this stove. This is something I bought myself. I bought it on eBay from China. It's another one of the small Lixada stoves. You've probably seen them on eBay if you go looking for them. First time using it, I am super impressed. I have to be honest. Now, it's not a long-term review. How can I do that after one use? But at this point, wow, I have to say that, and I'll explain more in the other video. But my water I put on to boil. I'm going to prepare a lunch. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about today. Then I'll let this rehydrate, and then we'll just talk a little bit about what else I'm going to be doing this year, and maybe a little bit about where the channel is going. So give me a second to get my meal rehydrated. So what I have, it's brand new to me. It's a freeze-dried meal, and if you watch my channel, I don't eat a lot of freeze-dried meal. Two reasons. One is cost, and the other one is quality, to be quite honest. Put my glasses on so that I can see what I'm doing. I've had Mountain House, I've had Backpacker's Pantry. I think most people will complain about how salty they are, and they're that way for a reason. It's not just a preservative. When you're out and you're really working hard, oh my lord, this is amazing. I've never seen a freeze-dried meal look quite like this. That's going to be the topic for another video. But the quality of the other ones that I've tried before have always been, lackluster. And I always felt I could do just as well dehydrating my own food. And I know there's a difference between dehydrating and freeze-drying, but I've always been happy. But recently I learned about a company based right here in Canada, out of Quebec, the province of Quebec, and the company's known as Happy Yak. So I spoke with one of the owners of the company at Happy Yak, and he agreed to send me a quantity of their different selection. And I'm not going to speak too much about that right now because this will be the very first meal I've had from Happy Yak, so it'd be a little early. But the company has quite a story, one that I think I can get behind, but we'll leave that for another video. So I have my water on to boil. Where is my glove? All right. Using another one of my items that I wanted to show you today, which is the Stanley Adventure Cook Kit. I know, just about everybody has one. I waited quite a long while before I got mine, and that's okay. I'm glad I have it now just for this type of usage. And I pre-measured the amount of water as recommended on the package. If I can do this without burning myself, I'll pour the water inside. And it does get hot real fast. Oh my, that's hot. And you have to give it a little stir. You need a kind of a long spoon to reach inside of those dehydrated packages, and I don't have any of the titanium spoons, and I don't think I need one. I've got all kinds of hand-carved wooden spoons, so give it a little stir. And the meal I'm having today, what is this? Beef and mandarin rice, or mandarin beef and rice. All kinds of beautiful looking vegetables, rice, beef chunks. Wow. Now, you do have to set them aside for a period of time, 15, I think, to 18 minutes. We'll read the instructions on the side. 15 to 18 minutes, I got it right. So, it's not really cold out here today, but it's cold enough. Cold enough that rather than rely just on the Mylar bag that the meal comes in, brought a cozy. And yes, I've got all kinds of homemade cozies from Reflectix, but you really can't beat. This is a dollar store lunch bag that has a type of Reflectix material inside. You'd almost think they were designed. Oh, my coffee's in there. Take my coffee out. That's something else I want to show you. Drop the meal down inside. Fold it over. Set it aside. Take a look at the time. In 15 minutes I'll check it and I think it'll probably be hot enough. So I mentioned coffee. So that's one of the other products that I have. So just to be clear, the Happy Yak product was given to me or sent to me for testing and review by the company. I did not pay for the Happy Yak products. I can't say a lot about them yet, other than the first look is probably one of the best looking freeze-dried meals I've ever seen, to be quite honest. But another product that a company has sent to me is from the company known as swiftcupcoffee.com. And they are a premium, ready for this, a premium instant coffee brand. And this is how their coffee comes in small little envelopes like this. And what sets them apart is they have individual blends of coffee, a whole series of them, and they sent me a sample pack to try out. So yeah, I know it's instant coffee, and we'll talk more about that. But you know, if it's as good as the claims that of what it is and the reviews I've seen, it should make a good instant cup of coffee, that is. So that's also part of what we'll be doing today. So my fire's dying down. I'm going to put some water back in my Stanley for the coffee, and I'll show you what else I brought, what else we're going to be looking at this year. Okay, so while I'm still waiting for my meal to rehydrate, 5 more minutes, I'm looking forward to that. Thought I'd show you something else that I brought out today that has been sent to me for testing and review. A satchel, or a haversack, or a shoulder bag, or whatever you want to call it. This is a product that's put together by the company Helicon-tex. And they're out in Poland, so they're a Polish company. I'm not sure where they are actually manufactured. I understand they're manufactured in Poland. That's yet remains to be seen. What I can tell you about the quality of the products I have so far is that they're extremely high quality. So this is again not a review, just an introduction of something I will be testing and reviewing. So they sent me 3 products. This is one. This is the haversack or bushcraft shoulder bag. They also sent me a larger backpack, a 40 to 50 liter interpretation of the old Alice pack, and they call that the Matilda. I will put a link in the show notes below, so if you want to go get a preview. I have been carrying that now for about 5 or 6 months as a possible replacement to my old Kelty haversack that I've had for 15 or 20 years. So it's a good bag. Everything I can say about it is a good bag. The quality is there. There are a few things I'd like to see changed or that I will probably eventually modify to my own liking. The third item they sent me was different. It wasn't something that I would normally be using. It's more along the lines of something that search and rescue might have. And it's a little shoulder pack. So I know that there is a company out of the States called Hill People Gear that make one. It's a little bag that you strap over your shoulders and it sits right here and it allows you to open up and you have access to a whole lot of things that are great to have right in front of you. Something that you could have your essentials in if you wanted to take your backpack off to do a little work around the woods. I know I have friends in search and rescue. I don't think it's the Hill People Gear. I'm not sure where they got theirs. But a lot of them, that's what they carry. So that's where they'll keep the immediate things like they need. The map. They want to be able to see where they're going, their GPS, their whistle, maybe a few other things are right there on the front of their chest. So I'm kind of excited to try that because it's something that I wouldn't have thought of to buy myself. So I'm interested in checking that out. I have a few other things that have been sent to me. Mikhail at Emberlit Stove was kind enough to send the titanium fire ant out for me for testing. And he did that after seeing me do a comparison between his original Emberlit stove, which I did buy, of course, myself, against the Uberleben wood stove in a few videos ago. So we thought it would be great if I could take a look at the fire ant. And you know, there is a small wood stove that looks something like the fire ant that comes from China, but I want to tell you, I've assembled the two of them, put them side by side, and there is no comparison. So that's a separate video again. Do you know, all this talk about checking or products that are being sent to me and ones that I've bought myself has kind of made it sound like this channel is turning into a review channel. It's not, or at least that's not my intent. So I intend to come out and share my hikes and my experiences in the woods with you as I've always done, my skills, things that I think that you might be interested in learning and doing, being able to do for yourself. Try to make them as simple as possible so that you can get out and try them yourselves. I want to continue doing DIY products for people who want to have an inexpensive experience in the woods, at least to start, so things that they can make themselves. I do have some videos coming up on dehydrated meals and how to put them together and how to use, prepare them once they're in the woods as well. But I'll tell you, here's my feeling on doing product reviews. Now, I know some of my other channel friends that have YouTube channels will make the statement that they will not review a piece of gear they can't personally recommend. So if it's not a good piece of gear, they're not going to do a video on it. And that's fine, I understand, but I'm going to take a different way of looking at it myself, and that is, there is a lot of products come out on the market today for use in the woods, a lot of which are bushcraft related, and I know bushcraft is more of a primitive set of skills than it is about the toys and the gear that we take out, but we like our toys and our gear. A lot of us do anyway. But the problem is, if no one reviews them, you won't know if it's worth putting your money down on. So I've had a few products sent to me that had great promise that didn't live up to the expectations, and I reported them that way. And that's what I will do. I don't know how many more companies are going to send me products based on the fact that I'm bluntly honest. I try to look for the good in those products, but yeah, I'm not going to hide anything back. I want to do reviews because people, myself included, look for reviews on products that they're interested in buying themselves, and they appreciate when they have an honest review. If there's something wrong with the product, say it. And I will tell you this, what's interesting, of a couple of reviews that I've done that the products didn't live up to those expectations, the companies have since contacted me and asked for me to help them out in either redesigning or making some suggestions for changes for future models. Because what they really like are these real world, out here in the woods, tests. They're not done in my backyard. Well, some of them are done in my backyard, but these are tests that I use. Like right now, it's about -5°C. It's a damp cold, as like we often get here in Nova Scotia. That's a challenge for fire lighting. And if your stove or your materials aren't up to it, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. It's not -30, but it's still, it's still quite a bit of a challenge to get a fire going here some days. So that's my thoughts on product testing, and I appreciate your comments. If you want me to continue doing product testing, that's great. If you don't, well, what can I say? If I have a product, I am going to test it, and I am going to give you my honest opinion on it. That's what my promise to you is. Okay, I think my meal is rehydrated. I'm going to open that up and have a look and see what that's all about and get some water on for coffee. I have to tell you, that little stove, this little bug-inspired Luxada stove, I'm super impressed. 7.5 ounces, very little wood. Brought my water to a boil for coffee. Well, first off, my water boiled for this meal very quickly. My water is boiling for the coffee already. Yeah, it's an impressive little stove, and as I said, I'll do a separate video. So I did turn the camera back on because I just had to share this with you. This is my first Happy Yak meal that I've tried, and this is the Mandarin beef and rice, and it has quite an assortment. I don't think this spoonful will give you a fair look at it, but quite an assortment of rice, carrots, peas, corn, beef, of course, broccoli. And I just started eating. I just sat here and started eating. I said, "Oh, this is good." And then I said, "Wait a minute. This is a freeze-dried meal. This is not supposed to taste like this. This tastes like something you might expect to get at a restaurant, and maybe a little better. Certainly something you could do a good job of at home." Yeah, this is highly flavorful, not salty. Very impressive. Okay, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch this. I'll finish my meal, have my coffee, and then it's getting to be late afternoon. It's probably around 4 o'clock now. And I've got a little bit of a hike out of the woods yet. See what else I can show you. Okay, late afternoon, on my way out. Thought I'd stop just for a moment to close this video up. So when I set out today, I was looking for a spot off the trail, somewhere where I could sit down and make a day camp, maybe a semi-permanent camp, maybe even for overnighters. I followed a stream, frozen, back into what turned out to be a bog. I thought it might be a better body of water back there, but it was just a bog and no flat land around the bog to set up on. So I continued on, found a place I could sit down, make a little fire in one of my new stoves and have some lunch. Did I not succeed in what I set out to do? Absolutely not. It was all about exploring from the beginning. It was all about getting out and enjoying Mother Nature during the winter time. Still today, now it's overcast, I think we're going to get a little bit of snow, but otherwise just a beautiful day out here. Got to walk on the lake ice, and nice and thick, just a different perspective. Enjoyed a really good lunch, which I'll be talking more about in a future video. Yeah, all in all, a great day out in the woods. So I'm glad you could come along and join me, and I invite you to come along the next time I go out. But until then, get out and explore. Take that path less traveled. It will make all the difference. Bye for now.